Alright, welcome back to the channel, everybody. So this time we are doing Adventure, one of the new decks from this set. Um, I want to do Broly soon, but I'm going to do Adventure for now because this is one of those decks that some people do ask more about than Broly because Broly is a very cookie cutter. This deck you can play it a few different ways. I'll show you the way that I'm playing it and how and my thoughts on why I'm including certain cards. So we'll just start here. The leader is Son Goku and Bulma first encounter. Activate main on the front side is discard one mono green card from your hand. Add one card from your life to your hand, draw two. You awaken when you're at 6 or less by dumping a Bulma first adventure from your deck to your drop and then drawing one. So honestly, like, sucks. I wish I drew two, but whatever. Um, but yeah, you can awaken on your opponent's turn, doesn't really matter, but you normally do want to try and out combo that first turn. I have a lot of cards that help me do that in here just because you do want at least these two draws as much as you can get out of them. Um, but yeah, the awaken is not that great. I like that it dumps the Bulma, but I wish it drew two. Permanent. If your green adventure Bulma is in rest mode, your green non-Bulma adventure cards can't be removed from your battle area by opponent skills. This is really good protection. It's just that the Bulmas literally suck. The Bulmas, like, it's one has deflect and unique, so you can't board spam with it. The other one is, yeah, it's barrier in rest mode, but you have to tap one to play it. That's terrible. Most of the time I just play it for free on top of like an oolong or puar. Auto discard one mono green card from your hand. When this card attacks, you draw two cards. So I do like the cycling a lot in this deck. Once per turn, if you don't have any non-adventure cards in your battle area, um, so like if your battle area is just adventure pretty much, play one Bulma first adventure from your drop and rest. So it plays the Bulma that it dumps out just so that you can get your protection online immediately. This protection's pretty insane versus anything not red. Um, Anything not red kind of doesn't like this to deal with, especially blue. Blue hates dealing with this. Um, but red can just get around it by negging. So red's a really, really hard matchup. That's why this deck can't be tier 1. I think this deck is tier 2 at best. But with red being so prevalent in the meta, this deck, it's really rough to play this deck into red. So we'll get into the deck list. So first we have two Start of a Journey. Um, so this is, I never use this effect, but it's choose one of your green Goku childhood battle cards. Play up to one Adventure Bulma from your drop in rest mode. So technically um, it can get the counterplay into rest mode, and then the chosen card gains blocker until the end of the opponent's turn. This doesn't really matter unless you're playing the 6-drop, which I'm not. Activate main. This is the better effect. You look at the top 7 of your deck and you add 2 adventure cards. Literally pot agreed. This card is great because of that. I only played it 2 though because it's dead later in the game. It's really like an early game card. You want to use it early to like establish your hand size. Super combo is just Paragus. Actually, an argument. You could play the Gogeta super combo. If you wanted to play Gogeta, it says like if you have a Z leader, you draw one if you combo with it. Because there are some times in testing where I'm stuck at 5 or 6 life, especially 6. If you're stuck at 6, it kind of sucks. But if you go to 6 and then you pull a life with the other leader, you can then token. So I prefer Paragus. The cycling helps, but you can play Gogeta if you want to. We play 4 of the counterplay Bulma. We just need to see Bulmas. Sometimes they can get rid of the other one, which is this one. But we play 4 of each. Well, 4 of this one and 3 of this one because you dump this straight from deck with your leader effect. So this Bulma, counterplay, played in rest mode, permanent. If this card is in rest mode against barrier, so they actually have to swing into it, or they need barrier removal to use on this card and not on your other things. The other things don't have barriers, so it doesn't really matter. If this card is in rest mode, when your opponent uses one of their skills to add a card from their deck to the hand, I don't believe this includes drawing a card. This is just like when they search and add something, they then have to discard one card. So um, this is pretty good to keep their hand neutral instead of plussing. You can break marker on turn 0 if you go second and they play like a top 5 searcher. Literally play this, breaking the marker. It's decent sometimes, but other times you might want to keep your marker for other things. So first Adventure Bulma, deflect unique. When this card is played, play up to one oolong changing shapes from your deck or drop in rest mode, then shuffle your deck. Is really good because it lets you shuffle your deck around. It lets you just deck thin by getting oolongs out of there. And then the oolong is deflect. activate main limit 1. Your leader is Green Adventure. Play up to 1 adventure card with cost 6 or less from your drop on top of this with the skills negated for the game. And you cannot play non-adventures for the turn. So typically what I'm doing with this is I'm either playing this one or Bulma. I'm either doing one of these two because it's good to just sometimes put 2 Bulmas on the field because then they have to get through both names before they can start answering your other cards, which is pretty annoying to have to deal with sometimes. The other one here is Puar, changing shapes. So for 1 green, if your leader is a green adventure card, you sack one of your battle cards, draw a card, you play this card from your hand, then you choose a Yamcha card that you control, and you can return it to your hand, which is good because if you have a Yamcha that lived, because again, Bulma can keep stuff sticking around, you can then play this Puar, you can swing with the Yamcha, hit a card from their hand, play this Puar, add the Yamcha back, and then play the Yamcha back out. So it can come up. I've played this card very few times, but it can come up. This bottom effect is if your leader is a green adventure card, play up to 1 adventure with 6 or less from your drop on top of the skills negated for the game. The main reason you play 4 Puars is because you need to see at least 1 for the Yamcha. We'll jump over to him real fast. If your Puar card is in play, when this card attacks, you choose one of your opponent's battle cards to KO it, and then you choose 1 card in their hand and discard it. They don't choose. You choose the card. This effect is so stupid that it just lets you choose your opponent's card and discard it. Because that's why I'm saying it's weird to say that this deck isn't tier 1 because it's not, but it's tier 2, tier 2.5 because of this effect. And it's like one of those things where it's like, oh, Gogeta Xeno is really good if you burst correctly. Well, this deck's really good if you're good at sniping your opponent's cards. Like you can play against people and you can be like, oh, look, I snipe a super combo, snipe a combo piece, snipe your boss card that you were gonna play next turn. Snipe you can snipe so many good stuff with this effect. It's actually like just gross to play against. And he just plays for 1 energy. If your leader's green adventure, your opponent has 2 or more energy. Play this from your hand, and then it also removes a marker from unison because why not? This is the best card in the deck, easily. This is you don't play less than 4 of this. This card's absolutely insane. Then we also play 4 Goku. Deflect blocker. If your leader is green adventure and you have 2 or more energy, you draw 1 and play this card from your hand. Active battle once per turn. If this is in battle with a battle card, you switch this card to active mode and it gets plus 10k for the battle. So you punch this into one of their battle cards, then you activate battle, restand it as a 25, you leave it up for next turn if it blocks a battle card, because again, they have trouble removing it if these are on the field. You can block the battle card swing that goes at one of them, then you can restand this as 25, block another battle card swing that goes at it. So this card's really good. You play it at 4. I don't think you would play it at any less than that. Then the SCR I'm currently playing is the Adventure SCR. I got it in a case that me and my friend split, so it was like, I might as well try it. It's all right. It's like it's good, but like there's reasons to play Purunga, Cell Xeno, or Cell Max over it. Like this card's cute because it'll gain barrier and then it can't be killed by skills because of the Bulma. If you play this alongside a Yamcha turn, like let's say you go into 3 and you go leader effect, play Bulma, then play Oolong, then play Puar on top of Oolong. Then you tap 1 for Yamcha, you swing with Yamcha, you get a KO and a discard, you play this, and then you play something else after, then you'll get another discard with Yamcha, and another KO with Yamcha, and a draw 1 for this. You're tapping out for it, but your turn 2, you typically like to set up a unison so that dormants are free, so it's kind of like okay-ish. This card also will net advantage because it's like when your battle card is played. So this includes tokens. So if you token negate, you do get a draw and restand something. It's pretty cool. You'll net like 2 to 3 draws out of this card, which is like, who's going to complain about 2 to 3 draws? But it just doesn't do as much as what Cell Xeno could do, as much as Cell Max could do, as much as Purunga could do. But it's still not a bad option. We play 1 Charismatic. It's Charismatic. We're not going to go over that. 2 Sadness and Rage. This card's like interesting. It's good because you can easily remove stuff off your board just by comboing something off your board, or Z Awakening the Z Leader just suicide something off your board, and then this card will switch to active mode. It just KOs a 7 or less when you play it. Your opponent's 2 or more energy. Choose a point of your opponent's 7 or less is KO it, then play this card from your hand. Double Strike blocker, easy to get the restand in this deck, but it's a non-adventure. So because it's not adventure here, we definitely can't afford to play more of it. And then we have 2 Father-Son Solidarity. Um, I would probably play this at more than 2, but again, it's non-adventure is the issue. And when they're not adventure, you don't want to play too many of them because then it blocks off your leader skill from using the activate main. Next, I think we're going into extra cards. Yeah, Kamehameha Energy Release. So I do play 2 of this, even though I don't play, as you saw, I don't play the Goku or the Roshi 6-drops. I don't think they're good, especially the Roshi. I think the Roshi's absolutely terrible. The Goku, I could see argument, because he's like a tap 1, I think he's dual attack, draw 1, and then if like Roshi's on the field, he can blow something up, but like, yeah, I get it, tap 1 dual 20k isn't like horrible, but it just doesn't do enough, in my opinion. You can use this as just a counterattack, discard 1 adventure, draw 2, so it can cycle you. But I actually just tap 2 for this a lot of the times. This deck can really rip your opponent's hand down, and getting into a game state where they're like at 5 life or 4 life, and they have like 5 cards in the hand or 6 cards in hand, just turning your leader sideways and literally energy releasing the leader to 30k double crit. Your opponent either loses the rest of their hand or they have to take a double crit, which which you're winning either way. So I actually do play 2 of this. Then we play 4 Cell Kamehameha, which is literally if all your energy is green, when you activate this card, choose one of your opponent's cards in their hand and drop it. So it's more hand sniping of your choice. Of this plus Yamcha is 8 cards in your deck that are just choosing your opponent's hand. If your leader is green, choose up one of your leader cards or battle cards. It gets plus 15k for the battle. So you can, there's a lot of times in this deck where you just leave one up just so you can do either of these. Champa Destroys is a little different. So if it's your opponent's turn, your opponent chooses one card in their hand, discards it, then choose one of your cards, it gets plus 5k for the turn. It also just baseline gives 10k power for the battle. And then if it's your turn, choose one of your opponent's battle cards, cost greater than your current energy KO. You almost never use this offensively because Yamcha blows up stuff just by swinging. You're mostly using this defensively. You tend to use these before you use the EDKs and the Yamchas because your opponent will discard their non-important cards first, and then you have a much better chance of hitting important cards with Yamcha and EDK. So these cards allow for so much hand destruction that a lot of decks actually just like can't deal with the amount of hand destruction. Your hand can get small too later on, but like you're not losing your power plays while you can snipe your opponent's power plays. So it's very egregious. Next we have 3 dormant, 3 uneasing. No need to explain this. You can alternate to 4 dormant, 2 uneasing, 4 uneasing, 2 dormant, whatever you want to do. But we're Green Saiyan, we're going to play both of these. I would not play King Cold in this deck. It's not an adventure card. What happened? There we go. And then 2 homicidal clones, because Hami clones plus dormant equals your turn's over. So that's the main deck. Z deck is going to be pretty simple. It's got to be small and simple. So these 2 cards that came with the deck, we play 4 Z leaders because you actually do quite often just go like Z leader kill, Z leader kill, Z leader kill, and you're just jumping into multiple Z leaders every turn. So the Z leader, it literally is just choose one of your battle cards, place it in its owner's drop, and then you Z awaken. It's free. So one thing you have to pay attention to is when to do this, right? Because if your opponents say, let's say you have 1 Bulma, and you don't have adequate stuff to keep that Bulma alive, if they punch into the Bulma, you would just literally go Z leader, kill the Bulma, because they're gonna go ahead and hit the, they're gonna kill it anyway in battle. So you Z awaken, kill the Bulma, and you get your 20k Z leader out. Now you're set up on a Z leader, your 20k baseline, and you're ready to go for next turn, and then you don't have to sacrifice a card that might be important to you later on. Just sacrifice the Bulma if they're about to kill it. That's something you have to remember, because a lot of people will just like let the Bulma die and then Z awaken on something else. No, just kill the Bulma and awaken if they punch it and you don't have the resources to keep it alive. Then it's got activate main, limit 1 for a green, choose one of your opponent's battle cards, KO it, play up to 1 Chaozu. Puar changing shapes from your drop, then remove this card from the game. So it lets you get your Puar back for your Yamchas without having to like commit too much. You get a pop out of it as well, which is really good. You almost never swing with this leader because you want the searches with this. So like you'll Z awaken on your opponent's turn, you'll be the 20 base, and then when it passes back to your turn, you'll pretty much always instantly just do this effect, and then you have your leader swing for the searches, and then you can go back. You go into this on your opponent's turn pretty much. Shenron can't attack, it's Shenron card. Once per turn, when your Green Adventure is played, add 3 markers to this. This is literally a +3. I've been asking for +3 unisons for a while, because unisons get bullied too much. So this is really good. You tend to get out of hand really fast. If they don't like hit 2 markers or 3 markers off the unison the next turn after it's played, when it's at 4, it will never die, and you will get your -7. Unless they have something that like just removes a unison, like, I don't know, Beast SCR, for example. Activate main -7. Choose one of your opponent's battle cards, gain control of it. This is good, but also like weird, because majority of the time when you're taking an opponent's card, it's already in rest mode because they swung with it. And it's just like, cool, I'm gonna -7 to just take a card that I can't do anything with. But there are cases where it comes up like you've dormanted them, something stayed inactive, you -7 to take something that's inactive. Or like what came up today against blue, if they play the Broly, that thing's activate main is not color locked or leader locked, so you can literally like steal the 8-drop Broly and then activate main restand it for a double striker. So there's stuff to get with this. I wish it switched it to active mode, but it'd probably be too good if it did. We play 1 Piccolo power up, 1 Mighty Blast, and 1 Broly. Now, I play one of these each because you do not, and again, I will repeat it, you do not want non-adventure cards that you can't get off your field. Now, I get it, like, your opponent's probably going to try and kill this Piccolo because it's a dual attacker. It'll be a 20k. They'll try to kill it, but if they don't, you can't get rid of it. And then you can't use your activate man on your leader. So your opponent may literally leave this card alive just so you can't use your activate man and get your plays going. The same thing goes with Broly Tyrant. You're playing this when you're going for game. That is it. You are never playing this earlier because you do not want to get stuck with a non-adventure that you can't get rid of. Mighty Blast also counts as a non-adventure card because it's in your battle area and these don't have traits, so this is a non-adventure card. The only time you'll play this is when you're gonna blast it the next turn. So you'll like swing with something and then you'll just Mighty Blast instantly on it, or you'll use it on defense. You will never set this up and keep it on your field because it's a non-adventure, and this effect doesn't work if you have a non-adventure. So that's why the Z deck is so like small and concise. It's just these because you'll go into multiples of them likely. Maybe not the Shenron. You could replace this with a long split second wish if you want, for more hand control. But do not like play more Z battle cards, because if you get stuck with Z battle cards that are not adventures, you're gonna cry yourself to sleep. The side deck is like thrown together. You can do what you want with the side, but I've got 3 counterplays in here. You got Bujins for like the blue and yellow matchups for their battle card floodgates, because blue likes to play Bupo, the blue Android 14 that goes in the Gamma decks. They like to play Android 17 defending friends. They like to play Heroic Prospect, so Bujin is very good for those. You'll play this most of the time, side this in against those kinds of matchups because this is comboable. This only hits 2s though. This card hits 3s, so if for some reason you're playing against a deck that has 3 costs that you need to counterplay that aren't 2 costs, like a good example, like Red. Red has the Videl encountering danger counterplay. So if they're like counterplaying with Videl for free, you would side this card instead of this card in because you would need to hit Videl, because Videl kind of just like kills your deck. Dark Deathball is basically the same idea as this, where it hits like taller cards, but Dark Deathball can be free if you discard 2. If you have a green unison in play, if the battle card being played is 4 or less, it places it in its owner's drop area instead of being played, then you pop a cost 1 or less in your opponent's field. And then permanent, if all your energy is mono green, you can discard 2 cards in your hand to use this for free. So it's like you can choose to do this for free. This is really like whatever your personal preference is, but these serve the same purpose. I'm not really good with green side decks. I don't main deck the color green, so my side deck is just cards thrown together. 3 Broly Omens. I mean, if they're trying to set up Z Energy, they're already losing cards out of their hand from your other stuff. Might as well cut them off as Z Energy if they're trying to set that up. 2 Cell Pursuit of Despair. This card actually comes up the set. A lot of decks have unisons, especially Jiren. You should have a good match, but I think it doesn't seem to draw a lot of cards and your hand control, so they should, not have a good time. But if you play this into Jiren, you can remove one of your tokens with combo power, and then remove 2 markers on your opponent's unison. This does not say choose. This goes through barrier, because it does not say the word choose. So even though Jiren is playing the Piccolo unison and the Jiren unison that have barrier, this card gets through that. And it's a double striker. But the issue is, again, it's not a adventure card. So if you like misorganize your plays, like let's say you go leader effect, play Bulma, play Oolong, and then you go like Oolong, play Puar, and then play Yamcha. Guess what? Your Oolong just locked you out of playing this, so you can't play this later in the turn. You would have to play this early, kind of telegraph your play line to your opponent, and they'll know how to play around you appropriately. So it's like it's weird playing non-adventures in this deck. And then Bigamore for any deck that's like got 5 cost or hires. This card's good against those kinds of decks. It might just cost too much for this deck to really take advantage of it. Um, Honestly, a good card that you could play, one that I was playing around with, that I'll show you right quick, is Pretty Black Hole. Unironically, because here we go. It's a counterattack for 1. Negate the attack, then choose one of your battle cards, negate its skills, and place it in its owner's drop area. If you do, draw a card. Use any of your opponent's non-token battle cards with an energy cost less than or equal to the energy cost of the card you place in the drop area with the skill and KO them. So it's a hard negate that draws you a card back, so it makes the card back in your hand, and you can use it to choose the non-adventure cards that are stuck on your field. So like let's say you have a Father-Son Solidarity, or you have a Sadness and Rage stuck on your field, or a Charismatic stuck on your field. You negate the attack, you drop any of them, and now you're blowing stuff up on your opponent's field, and you get the names off your field. So it's a card that could be played with. But yeah, this is the deck list. You can mess with it, play the Roshis and Gokus if you want. I don't think they're good, but maybe I'm bad. But yeah, if you have any input, please comment down below, and I'll see you next time.